Good evening, folks. Red County Blue Nation. Up here in the beautiful Wet Mountain Valley, Westcliffe, Colorado. Great states of America. Americans here. Stephen Rorick, Mike Boring on the console. James, a.k.a. Jimmy McMahon. What's happening, my man? What's going on?
We're enjoying the sunshine. The gardens are growing really well. We got a little bit of rain, more of southeast, kind of passed us up here in the town and some of the ranches closer to the hills. Definitely need to get some more rain, and
all I got was wind. So I bailed the lower 80 out of 160, and the other 80 it just bloated away.
just like that, folks. So when you think about food production, cattle food and goat food and whatever else you may be feeding hay to, there ain't an easy lick up here. There ain't an easy lick. There's no guarantee. It's high risk, hard work.
Blowed the shit away.
Yeah, I mean, one minute you got it, and the next minute you ain't.
That was the best part too. Is the only part we got water on, so but it didn't matter. And I was trying to reminisce. I never can remember it blowing that hard in June.
Man, we had 3 days.
Thrashed the trees, blowed all kind of big limbs out of the trees.
Electricity went out for a bit.
It's kind of a nasty son of a gun, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one of the biggest words that a farmer probably says. It's whatever, because you set your expectations pretty high. You hope for the best.
Yeah, my care meter is down here where I don't.
But you're absolutely once the air's let out.
I could have made a lot more money at the dome. By the time I chased the water and done all this and done all that, but whatever. I mean, we were in a position, but all y'all that believe in the good Lord, He said no, that's not the case. So whatever it is, what it is.
Well, it is what it is. We got damn near drowned it out where I'm at. Not that it wasn't ready to burn up. Not that it wasn't going backwards at the speed of light. But we probably got a good half inch, 3/4 of an inch of rain. I mean, flooded the barn. And that doesn't always work real good, you know what I mean? That fast rain, it doesn't soak in. What we need is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 hour drizzle.
Yeah.
That penetrates and gets in there. It's like the drip irrigation that we use on the garden.
Well, it's just like trying to take a drink out of a fire hose.
Absolutely.
If it's all spilling off your face and going down your shirt, then you ain't getting much in your mouth. So.
No, you got to gear it down. But yeah, that was, I think it was probably a 45-minute.
This country, it usually never rains in June anyhow. So, I mean, June is always the driest month of the year.
Yep. Yeah.
Traditionally.
If you don't have enough snowpack to carry you through July.
Snowpack? What the hell's that?
Snow chill.
What, huh?
And it was like 0. So, yeah. People that take, here again, if you go to
everybody's like, well, it rained a lot. It's like, if you're trying to get your drinking water out of the sky, you'd already been dead.
Yeah.
Just saying, right? I mean, it might have rained a little bit here and there, but one of the old timers, we seen him the other day up towards the ski area. He said he got 7 inches of rain already, and I know they got rain the other day, and he's like, I think it takes an inch of rain a week. We got maybe like 2 inches of rain that whole time. And so, I mean, we're already all burned up. That's why we cut that hay, because it was done, right? I mean, it's better to get a little bit.
Get it when it's green. It's a nutritional value.
Yeah. Well, there's, nutritional value and money value.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's green, it's got color, and it also has nutritional value.
Tony's got his horse out there. He's a good little horse, but we had him in the corral. He ate all the stuff in the corral. So we finally let him out into the big part, but we've been feeding him. We had a big broken bale, and the old man's been feeding him a little bit. That rummy little bastard went back in the corral and was eating that old dry hay rather than eating that grass. I'm like, did you take a course in liberalism, or what's the matter with you, man? Whatever. This world just don't make no sense anymore, man. Why would you eat some old dry hay instead of fresh green grass, alfalfa even? Fresh alfalfa plants. But what do I know? Hell, I'm not a horse, and at this point, I do not know. All I know, folks,
Boom, boom.
we got the bulletproof right here. This Donald Trump bulletproof fireworks. Over there, we got proud to be a patriot.
Proud to be a patriot. Right here. So these guys have pulled it off.
Got the old kill shot up here.
It'd be good if we could get some more donations.
Oh yeah, I mean continuing donations because I mean we.
But how many shots? How many?
There's going to be over 8,000 shots in this show.
8,000 shots, folks, on 4th of July.
Folks, pokey dokies, right? So like one time it goes pow. That's one shot. We got 8,000 shots lined up. So we got some new ones. So this is the 6-inchers, right? But they got the Ocho. So now we got some 8-inchers.
Ocho, that's Spanish for 8.
And I get to be
Then what's this in?
it's the same.
It's one of them.
Yeah, the little wrapper.
Oh, look at there.
Little silver wrapper come off his little ass. But
That's all right. You don't have to add the silver wrapper.
no, you got to do is make sure the fuse is upside.
Yeah, it's good to light them up here like that there. And make sure it's going that way.
When we went to the pyrotechnics class, they lit one of the opposite way.
Full reverse.
Nasty. I just go
The reverse. Boom.
It just smokes.
It's
So if these
trapped right here.
Yeah, if these are literally, that's why these happen to be fiberglass. A lot of them are HDPE. But like
Highly densified. What's HDP?
high density polyethylene.
Yeah.
So, but you can't use steel.
You can't use steel, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, because it's a hand grenade. It's
It's a grenade.
Blow up.
It will take your face off.
Yeah, so
Now you're sending shrapnel into the
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So plastic ain't so bad.
No, the plastic will just kind of explode and then dissipate. I mean, and still hold together. I mean, it looked like a piece of shredded Swiss
Piece of
cheese.
blowout, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
But it absorbs and expands with it. As
Yes.
opposed to steel, just shatters.
yeah. Well, and same way with white plastic.
The PVC?
Yeah, you don't want to use
Polyvinyl, no, polyvinyl chloride, do not. No, that's
Yeah,
that's a big no.
Well, and that's why when you buy these, right, they come with the tubes, right? These have the tubes in them. The tubes come with the, and these are all, of course, folks. These are all 1.4 classification 1.4, right? These are residential grade, consumer grade fireworks. I mean, in my opinion, the way we're going. For a donation fireworks show, why would I go spend like 10 grand to try to become a professional pyrotechnics thing, and we can just barely get enough money, right? Like, it makes no sense to be able to shoot off the 4 and the 8-inch. I mean, it would be cool 4, 6, and 8-inch, 8-inch round. Literally, some of them guys, they build them, they're 12 inches round.
Yeah.
With the pyrotechnics club, you can build them, so that's pretty cool. But I mean, you just wait, folks. This gonna be epic.
So it would be nice if whoever's listening, if you could tell or spread the word to go ahead and try to get some more donations. There's been a few people really taking the brunt of the investment of this thing.
Westcliffe Concrete, Lee Hostetler,
Yeah.
and I don't know Matt Troyer, his partner, but they donated 3,000. So
Yeah, and I know
That's
both of them youngins, and they do good work and they work hard. They pay a lot of.
Johnny up at Tony's Pizza donated 2, and so did Dick and Audrey Sturmer. Both them are our 3 biggest.
So, but it really takes several hundred small people doing 5, 10, 15, 20 donations that really round it out, because right now
We need 500 here and 500 there to get there.
we need, yeah, at this point in
the
time.
insurance is 4,000, so basically a quarter of our budget is just for insurance. But
Get some skin in the game is all I'm saying.
it's set in stone, right? It's going to be at the water towers. I mean, I like the dome venue. The water towers would be a little cooler though, because we're already have a couple 100-foot elevation off the town and where everybody's sitting, right? So we're already up in the air.
Well, and the visibility is a little bit better.
Yeah.
So the donations should be a lot better too. So
well, and
you guys just need to go ahead and cough up a little bit. Is what I'm saying.
yeah, and I mean, we ain't going anywhere. So, I mean, this was basically $15,000 worth of fireworks to get 8,000 shots.
8,000. 8,000's a bunch. It's not 2,000.
Well, and so this rascal here that you're sitting next to, the proud to be a patriot, I believe he's a 200 shot.
Yeah, this says 200 shots right here.
Yeah, and so the Trumpers, I'm not sure what the Trumpers are. I think they're 200 too. I think this bad girl here, she might be a 3 something. But yeah, so I mean, they're small. Right, they're nothing like these, right? So you can see. Oh, shoot. We got nothing else to do. We just might as well look at this thing.
Well, no, and I think educating the public in the future generations to have this as a something as a library to look at, the Red County and the Blue Nation.
So I mean, we'll have to cut the top off this anyhow when we go to the field, but. And so these are just smaller, a lot smaller shots, right? But they're pretty cool because they go, I mean, that whole 200 shots will go off in like, I don't know, 30 seconds? Something like that.
Oh, is it that quick?
Yeah. Oh, it's quick.
But that takes a lot of setting, doesn't it?
Oh, so you just set that on the ground and that's it. That's why them are cool. So
Oh, those are presets.
Yes.
You don't have to capitalize on the hard set deals and then drop them in, light them.
No, so Brian and Josh will be running these, and we'll be running the cakes, and I'll be running the mortars.
Got it. Mortarmen. Awesome.
So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. I mean, we're going to have, everybody last year said it's the best fireworks show they ever seen, and there's been a lot of people that said that. I mean, I'm not just, I really don't care what anybody thinks, to tell you the truth. But
No, but we need
when
to
they're
show our
honest,
patriotism.
when they're honest and they actually, when you have the public's approval, you have the
Absolutely.
approval, right?
Yeah.
It's not, oh, look at me, I'm so good.
No, you're not snapping suspenders.
It all
brother.
boils down. It's Uncle Sam's can't remember exactly. Badass Uncle Sam's or Uncle Sam's fireworks from Texas. He hooks us up good, Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin
so-
from Texas is
Yeah,
supporting the American spirit.
yeah. He sells $750,000 worth of fireworks on the 3rd and the 4th. So, or no, I guess he told me what 250 in one. So, 300 and some thousand. $30
Yeah.
million worth of fireworks in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all, I mean, I've been to quite a decent number of fireworks stands. I've never seen anything like these, right? So,
We like that bulletproof thing.
well, I figured I'd have to get that in on my side over here, the bulletproof Trump. Got the old kill shot, got some hot chick with a machine gun. Even though we know that's not practical, but whatever. Jimmy's got the dirty little sailor over there out of his way. Just the way the setup was, we couldn't get any more of them.
She's got 352 shots.
352 shots.
That's a get her doneer.
Dirty little sailor.
So anyways, getting back to and please support these guys. I mean, there's next year fireworks. There's a lot more to it.
Well, we would like, if we can generate the money, we'd like to have a New Year's Eve.
in a New Year's Eve celebration too. And this New Year's Eve is really something that we do need to celebrate.
Well, it is because, I mean,
I mean, think about the contrast of the Biden regime, all that shenanigans that took place there.
If
With Camel Toe and-
if we just had a little bit of the money that they wasted, we could have fireworks every night.
Yeah, and so the
At least
DOG,
once a month.
yeah, I mean, Elon went in there and pulled the curtain back a little bit and said, "Looky here, boy, we got a lot of waste." And here again, we may have the same thing going on here in our little county.
We do.
And what irritates me more than anything is the people that are sitting there getting a paycheck knowing that they're inadequate, knowing that they're costing us more money, Vern. We call him cranium.
Artificial biker's the one I like. But.
Yeah, artificial biker, but Vern, we appreciate you keeping all that information in your head for 7 years. And that's where I generated the name for you as cranium. Vern, we love you. And whatever medical or whatever challenges you got, we understand that. But we're not here as taxpayers to individually support somebody that can't adequately be the finance person.
Can't adequately support yourself.
And then come on today as the IT guy, and you're working in that realm as well. So I don't know I don't know what you got on everybody there, but Lucas Epp and Paul Vogelson, we do expect some honesty and integrity. Bill Canda Biden, we already know where your heart lies. We know what you're about. Just on the shits, on the stuff that was being taken out, all the forever chemicals, and your response to was, my family's been here forever, and these other families that have been here, they'll be dead and gone, and my family will still be here. Your asinine response there, boy, you pretty much sealed the door. You are absolutely got the wrong attitude to be a servant to the public. So,
well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, I I appreciate someone for their service. Right, I appreciate that, but the whole mentality of a full bird colonel, you ain't listening to nobody. You're barking orders. You're not listening to shit. So that's the way he runs this county. I'm in control. The rest of you don't know jack shit. I'll spend the money however I want. I got all the files for the Justice Center at my house. I'm going to do whatever. We're going to try to spread the sludge. I'm still thinking that Round Mountain never hauled 200 loads of sludge out of here.
yeah, we need to check all that, folks. There's a lot of stuff. If I had the lateral movement financially to be able to do all the discovery on this stuff, and we are in contact with the DA on some stuff. So, but yeah, the political leverage that individuals manipulate for their own personal gain, it's not just at the state level. It's not just at the federal level. It's right here, right now.
That's what we've been talking about. It's like for the 100th time, folks. It's all about how you think money should be spent. If you think there's a never-ending supply, then you act like Billy Bob Biden.
Well, in some of it has to do. Yeah, absolutely.
We need another wood chipper. Is what we need.
Yeah, let's get another wood chipper. How much wood could a wood chipper chip if you had 2 wood chippers?
If you had 3.
Maybe if you had a baker's dozen.
When so like
let's go into competition.
I mean, it's back to that same thing. Like, why don't the liberals pay for their own wood chipping? See, if they were good stewards of the land, they would already had all that done, but they're not. Oh, we got to let it all grow up. We can't kill anything. Well, then let your house burn down. Shit. Do you think any of us care what you think? Speaking of libtards, let's talk about libtards and guns on Main Street.
We do, and George Gramlich at the Sentinel had firsthand experience with somebody pulling a gun on them.
Well, he's lucky he didn't get shot. because I know that more than one or two of them guys all had firearms right there. So I mean, that kid's luckier than shit that when he goes waving a gun around that he didn't get smoked right there.
And then you got the coroner that was there as a patriot, because Brad Balsley is a patriot. He understands, he's been somebody that's had to earn a living. He knows the difference between profit and loss. But he was sitting there recording all of it too. But they also got a call in as an elected official, called the sheriff office, and they got the guy pretty quick. So, Brad, thank you for that.
Well, I heard they was all the way about 4 miles out of town, so they didn't get him that quick.
No, they didn't. But they did get him. So if you're 4 miles out, that's all right.
You must have a slow-ass car.
Well, you don't want to, you know what I mean?
Running a Lambo up there, you ought to be to Walsenburg in 4 minutes.
Well, and the deal is that radio can call into Walsenburg, and Walsenburg can say, hey, we're going to intercept
Whatever,
this
don't you
individual.
watch the movies? We'll get in a secret
Yeah, Breaker
tunnel or
19. You know that's right. But anyways, I did wanted to read, Sheriff Smith stated that before the No Kings rally here in Westcliffe, Colorado, the No Kings rally started. He went down to the bluffs to meet with the march organizer. The march organizer. This is an individual that lives in Custer County. And I know this individual, but he organizes.
He's pretty much the pinnacle of the Democratic Party. I mean,
he's a ringleader. He's good to go. He's sold out. He's sold out as much for this as we are for what we stand for.
Well, and that's the honor.
He's fully persuaded.
He is, and that's the honor part about it. I mean, for as educated as he is, it's like, that's just like what he said at the sludge thing. It's like, but don't you know what PFAS chemicals are? James?
The guy's dumber than a box of rocks. One Dr. James Gilbert, we call him Dr. Doom. But anyways, the sheriff was there to discuss the security and the walking protocols, so that we didn't have a bunch of crap going on. So James, Dr. Doom Gilbert, a local Democrat bigwig, was the local march organizer. So James Gilbert, we're trying to advertise that you're the guy. You're the main man. You're the chief in charge here, buddy. So Gilbert and maybe other local libs, and we know the other local libs as well, is responsible, or at least partly responsible, for bringing in all those out-of-towners who jammed the sidewalks up and down Main Street, screaming crazy chants and displaying fourth grade cardboard signs with crayon sayings scribbled on them. So they had to import people from out of the county to try to get their...
Well, and I'm sure most of you already know that, folks, but all these demonstrations are not really organic, true blue, literally true blue people that believe in what they are. They're paid protesters. They are hired people to raise hell. And that's what they are. They have, all they know is they're getting paid. They don't give a shit about what they're talking about. And then you got this, go ahead.
So Stephen, thank you for accenting on that, because that really does need to be accented. This is an extortion with people trying to place a false narrative on really what the county stands for. There's a handful of people.
What the whole country stands for, or what the human race in general stands for.
Right.
Ain't nobody feels that way. I mean, there's a small little select amount, but they're obviously, I mean, that's when they talk about mental illness. Most of the people that are mentally ill are like liberal women. And that's just the fact. You look up how many mentally ill people there are, and most of them are liberal women. It's just
a hard fact.
I didn't make it up. It is what it is.
So anyways, we go down to the, all to protest a duly elected United States president. You didn't see conservatives. We didn't blow a gasket and didn't get into all this mumbo jumbo when Biden,
No, because it's that whole narrative. If we would do it, then we're no good son of a bitches, and then we're going to try to riot, and it's a same thing that happened to Capitol building that they tried to put the whammy on Trump for. That's why conservatives been trying to keep the lid on the pot, keep an even keel, and try to just maintain integrity, because that's what it needs. It's these Fruit Loops are the ones, and so when they're doing what they are accusing you of. That's the classic Democratic trick, is to accuse you of what they're doing.
Absolutely. And this is a great example of this, Dr. Doom, and hopefully you'll come to your senses. Anyways, I think your conscience is severed, and I remember going during the COVID thing, and what a Nimrod. I was sitting there, I'm not wearing a mask, you're going to listen to me. I said, we need to build our immunity naturally. That mask is like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, long story short, as this thing went on, and I'm reading from the Sentinel. This is an article that was generated.
George put out. George wrote.
Because George actually was the one that had the gun.
Well, it's his property, number one.
Yeah, number one, and here again, they were standing there with elected officials and people that are like-minded, God and country.
And it's Flag Day.
And it's Flag Day.
And it was the 250th birthday of the Army or something.
Yeah, absolutely, the armed forces.
Quite a bit of stuff to celebrate.
Yeah, we should have had fireworks.
We should have.
We should have been able to say, look, we need to celebrate these things in time that have given us the freedom and the lateral movement in our life, and celebrate those times. And here you got a Nimrod who is completely belongs in some other country other than America.
Somebody told me that he worked at Tony's, and I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah. So I know the youngin. I knew him. He's served at our tables. I've known him in coming and going. But yeah. The main street, Westcliffe, is the tourist center of the county. There's little shops up and down and restaurants and things. And one of the things that George was mentioning that he accented on, the street is lined with all kinds of shops, restaurants, bars, art galleries, etc. They depend on the street traffic for sales. Saturday is the biggest revenue day of the week for them. Saturday. That's when, anyways, George does explain. Tons of tourists coming to the town, including Colorado day trippers. They come driving into Main Street to park, walk, and shop. And what do they see? A long column of angry, freaking looking people yelling and chanting with crazy signs, jamming the sidewalk. What does a tourist do? He gets out of there as fast as humanly possible, never to come back. Our merchants are taking a beating. Westcliffe's reputation as a nice, quiet spot to spend a day is shattered. The delusional local and out-of-town demonstrators, Jimmy, little buddy boy, Mr. Gilbert Doomgloom.
Oh, big hat, no cattle?
Big hat, bunch of satanic characteristics, demonstrates they are making a difference, and they are. Every time they do this, more people come to oppose them in their efforts as they disrupt our economic lifeline, tourism. Their myopic, self-absorbed view of themselves as being at the front of the lib effort to get rid of Trump and democracy. And to me, when you say democracy, George, here, we always got to be in the forefront of our mind is it is a republic. It's not a democracy. It has some democracy meaning and tools that we use, but at the end of the day, it's a republic. It's a constitutional republic. Everybody's under the law. So he goes on to talk about that they have no concerns about how their behavior affects others. And that's a big deal. How does your behavior affect others? And that's a big deal. And it doesn't matter who you are, what kingdom you're in, or what belief system you have.
But that's where
it's called respect.
When that's what it all boils down to. What do you really believe in? So for me, do I get off in the ditch every once in a while? Yeah, but it's my ditch, and there's nobody else around, so I can drive wherever I want. I can drive because it belongs to me. It's my ditch. I'm not influencing anybody else, and I'm not impacting anybody else. It's mine, and I will do with it as I please. But I'm not going to do that if it involves you. So I try to be respectful as I can.
Absolutely.
What we talked about a long time back, right? Slamming the door on somebody's face, right? That's what they're doing. And I mean, what we just talked about, right? These people are mentally unstable. They don't have a concept of what real reality, the base root word of reality is real. Kind of like count.
So at the end of the day, George does have a really good article. Especially economically, you want to rally? Fine, have it at the Bluffs, but don't march up and down Main Street, jamming the sidewalks, scaring off our merchants, the clientele, and hurting our community. A lot of these merchants are barely hanging on. In the loss of a big Saturday.
The problem is it's all about money, right? So it took a lot of money to get them people up here, right? And so we couldn't have just give that money to the businesses, the people that needed it. We got to pay a bunch of hoodlums to come up here and harass people and
then scare off the people that are spending pure money.
As bad as I hate to say it, I mean, I don't care who else feels this way, right? But if the guy would have pulled a gun and somebody would have just blasted his freaking brains right out, it'd slow people down, right? I mean, that's the whole thing.
Well, that's one of my biggest sayings, that we're too civil.
There is no...
And I've called the DA on the county to investigate on their shenanigans. I'm being as civil as I can. You ever see me exercising the Second Amendment?
Son of a bitch is going to pull a gun on an old lady, and all the rest of them guys had guns too, and why they didn't all have their guns drawn right at him is beyond me. That's probably the reason why I didn't show up. Right, because...
You and I both
I'm not going to... Yeah, I'd snatch that gun right out of your hand and stick it down your throat. And then pull it out your ass, and then do it a couple more times, and then see what you think about it. Because, well, obviously you ain't man enough to fire it. I guess. I mean, I don't know who the kid is, but...
Well, here again...
If you was man enough to fire it, why didn't you?
So he had full body armor on. I mean, this wasn't... Anyways, it does...
Hey, folks, if you didn't know, that's why you shoot for the head and the throat. All right, you hit somebody in the throat, it don't matter how much body armor you got.
Yeah, you're leaded. You're leaded. So, anyways, have a little consideration for our community and our merchants. It's beyond a waste of time for left-wing freaks to shuffle up and down Main Street in Happy Valley. Now, James Gilbert, I hope this lights your candle. Let's escalate this a little bit. Let's go ahead and see.
Yeah, you want to come on the podcast? James?
Come on the podcast there, Jim Bob. The locals dislike it, and every time you do it, you lose more support. So Sheriff Smith then, and here's where the real dilemma that came in, that James Gilbert, as the No Kings rally, and the guy that was the lightning rod for this, the orchestrator who maybe got a check from Soros. I don't know. Maybe Jimmy Bob knows if he got financed from the Socialist Party to take down the country here in a little county. And that's how this works, folks. It's county to county.
Well, yeah, they ain't coming up here for fun. It's all about money.
It's serious stuff, but it's principality against principalities here. So Sheriff Smith then mentioned that the local lefty who pulled the gun on several people at the at Sentinel's Flag Day celebration. That's the newspaper. That's the article I'm reading here. Smith said that they caught him out of town. You said about 4 miles out.
That's what I heard. I have no idea.
So I don't know exactly either. And it was up to district attorney now. Read about the horror show in last week's Sentinel. So anyways, we did have an individual that, if you pull a gun, you better pull the trigger on me.
That's what.
You need to get that done faster than I can, because if you instigate it,
I mean,
and most people know how I roll.
I'm kind of like the Wild West, right?
Damn Skippy.
I mean, that's like, if you want to talk about a mentor or a hero or whatever, the gunslingers of the old days, I mean, them were the true men, right? Quickest on the draw.
Law of the jungle.
Quickest on the draw is the longest to live.
And I don't want to break down the basic civility, but not all bucks get to respawn. They don't get to put their seed where it needs to go because they're not the top buck. Not all salmon get to the top and respawn because they're not the top. The law of the jungle is about making the strong stronger, not making the weak strong at the cost of the strength of the other people. That's what socialism is. And the government tries to play God. You're not God. You're not God. You need to do your job. You need to understand the oath. You need to understand what the forefathers built here. And you need to get your head on straight. Because there could be a day coming where some of your belief systems that are so contrary to nature, as well as the Constitution, may cause you to have some consequences that you may not have intended.
Yeah, like hot lead to the head, you mean?
I don't know exactly how it would go.
Just saying.
But at the end of the day, the Second Amendment is there to keep the government at bay. And not only that, but not only the government, but treasonous individuals that have evil to do to this country, who have socialist manifestations.
But let's be realistic here, folks. I mean, we all want to try to play patty cakes and, oh my God, somebody might be racist and this and that. How many weapons have been made in this world, and how many have been used, and how much blood's been shed, and it is still going on. So don't tell me that it ain't the way it is, because I know it's true. People are shooting each other right now. Bam!
So it's kingdom against kingdom. It's belief system against belief system. And like Donald Trump said the other day, he says, them folks been fighting so long, they don't know if they're, what do you call it, bored or?
Punched or bored.
Punched or bored. You know, and that's kind of a truth. And he did use
do y'all know what punched or bored means, right? So punch is a high pressure.
Wow.
Punch is where you have a hydraulic thing and it punches a hole.
Punches
Bam.
a hole.
It pops through there.
Bore is your...
Bored means you're drilled.
You're drilled.
Right, so either you're going to just force it through or you're actually going to cut it. That's the difference between punched and bored.
Absolutely.
Machinist terms, right? I mean,
yep, absolutely. So at the end of the day, when you're getting bored, it's the precision and the time, the lubrication and all the finesse that it takes to be bored in a cylinder takes a lot of measuring, and you got to grip it tight. Everything's got to be held really tight because the tolerance is thousandths of an inch. When I was building motors and boring stuff and redoing heads, when you're boring something, man, it has got to be so exact. You can't be off any. It's very important. So what we're talking about is they don't know if they've been finally bored in order to receive a good piston and rings and to run smoothly with working other parts. If you're just punched, it's typically kind of a rough deal, isn't it? If you're just punched.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you know, that still makes a good hole or whatever.
Makes a good hole, but it ain't got the precision or the depth.
No, and a lot. I mean, you don't need it. If you don't need it, you don't need it. But that all of that is irregardless. What we're talking about is you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Absolutely. And what it comes down to is, I always look at things in the depth of when you say something. There's a depth of perception that needs to be related to it. So when you're bored, it's a lot more time. It's a lot more precision. It's a lot more skill. When you're punched, not so much. It's kind of a rough, very, very, very shallow hole that's in a very shallow piece of steel. Boring goes through a pretty big deal. So there is a reflection of depth, shallowness and depth. So if you don't know if you're punched or bored, to me that's the depth of that analogy. So, but at the end of the day, Mr. Gilbert, you got this on your hands. You're the one that orchestrated it. You're the one that marched up and down the road with your shenanigans on a day that was very patriotic. And here again, you were saying there's no kings. Well, we understand that. The 4th of July, see these right here? See this right here? All of this says that there isn't a king. We separated ourselves from the king. We separated ourselves. Now we're a republic under law. We're not a, here again, you're preying upon people's lack of knowledge. And you did the same thing during COVID. Oh, you got to wear the mask. We're all going to die. I'm a virologist. I know this stuff. I know. And on the YouTube channel, during this time, I went into the Custer County Board of Commissioners and I said, gentlemen, that mask doesn't do nothing against the virus. That's a lie from the pit of devil, from right out of the... We need to be looking at building our immune system. We need vitamin C, vitamin D. Anyways, Dr. Doom was right in there. Oh, he don't know what he... And all you laughed me out of there, Dr. Brown included. So that's where you're at. So I know you've somewhat apologized for it, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that were done that need to be apologized for. And Billy Bob Bill Kanda, you were the chairperson of the Board of Health. You allowed this to go on. You didn't make a stand then. You guys all went along with it. And that was the disgusting part of the leadership of the elected officials. The voice of the people were very, very watered down. You went more with the homosexual governor. You didn't realize that it was a spiritual thing. You just caved into it, and you took a bunch of money. And there's a lot of people up here that took a whole bunch of money. That's why our country is so far in debt, that money was unleashed. And I remember the Amish said, we didn't take any. See, that's principle over mammon. That's principle over profit. That's principle over being selfish. But we're still paying for it. And you know who you are. You know the folks that got some free money and chunks of it. You know who you are. So you only have yourself to blame on some of this. Stephen, what you got going on there?
I'm just arguing with ChatGPT.
Well, good deal. There you go. So anyways, I promised George that I would mention what took place there. There's an individual that had pointed a gun at him that had body armor on. And James Gilbert was, he was the leader of that pack. So you got to be thinking about what you're doing up here. You could stimulate a very sick person that's been listening to CNN or whatever. to combat somebody that's actually standing up for the American way. And it was Flag Day, it was the President's Day. It was, celebrating the armed forces for 250 years. It was a huge day. And for somebody to degrade and devalue that for the America that we live in, and then to get somebody to pull a gun on somebody that's standing for it and they were against it.
And it's a little old lady, no doubt. There's sickos all over the place, man.
So anyways, here in Happy Valley, Gilbert.
That's the whole, I mean, that really is the two-edged sword of free will.
Yeah, absolutely. But here again, I'm going to allude to, typically, you need to stay within the bounds of a constitutional republic when you're speaking freely. When you start speaking of Marxism and socialism, what was that other thing you used to talk about? It goes way back a ways. When you start talking about the republic and you're conniving against it and plotting against it, that's where the word treason comes in. So if you don't like it, leave it. Get out. Go to a country that accommodates your belief system. But don't march your happy ass up and down here with people from out of town.
All of the countries that support socialism and Marxism, you don't go marching around like that. They'll shoot your ass.
They'll drop your ass like a wet sock.
Hell, you don't have a chance to say nothing.
So here again, they're abusing the freedom that's been given to us in a constitutional republic, and they're calling it, it's democracy. It's democracy. No, it's not. A democracy, you could vote my rights away. You could vote my God-given rights away. See, but you can't do that in this country. You can try, but you can't. You can't vote my God-given rights away. In a democracy, you can. The mob rules. But in a constitutional republic, the law rules, and that law comes down from creation and under a God, and there's principles, and there's the Constitution that free men wrote. They said, I'd rather be free than to keep being oppressed by the king. So if you're a free person and if you ever got a taste of freedom, oppression is not what you're about. Oppression, financial oppression, where you're taking my money and spending it on things that's against my belief system. I understand the military. I do understand that. Other than that, I think it's a perversion of a constitutional republic. That's just me. So, at the end of the day, I don't know what else to say. Other than I'm happy to see the fireworks are here, and things are we're getting ready to get our celebration on. A lot of blood been spent, and my brother's one of them. My brother's blood was spent for this country. And don't walk on it, not around me. Don't walk on my brother's blood. Don't do it. Get out. If you don't like it, if you don't like this country, please go to a place that accommodates your belief system. Don't come here trying to take this down. Because when you poke the bear enough, the bear gets up, and it's not going to be pretty. It won't be pretty for anybody. And with this kind of behavior that took place on Main Street here in a little bitty old Custer County in Colorado, if your blood ain't boiling a little bit about a gun being pulled and about the demonstration that cost a lot of people a lot of money that pay the tax base in order to keep things going here, you might look at yourself a little bit different, because that's...
Well, then you wonder, just like what we talked about last week, then you wonder why all the big businesses are moving out of Colorado.
Absolutely.
Not going to put up with this shit.
So here again, the dark leadership that we've had here in the state is an emulation of what we had at the feds, or what's going on in California. That kind of belief system does not work in a constitutional republic. It works.
Thing, I mean, all of that is true, but I mean, it's like there's a step higher, right? It's a small group of people want to control the rest of us. That's the only reason why they would put this shit out there. The globalist, the elitist, the ones that think that they are the better than the rest of us.
Agenda 2030 people.
I mean,
so it really does come down to that. It's kingdom against kingdom, and the Bible's very clear about that. In the last days, it'll be kingdom against kingdom. And I'm not going to get into this in a religious way or a belief system. All I'm saying is Americanism, whatever belief system you have, other than Muslim, where I have to believe like you do or you're going to cut my head off, you pretty much can go pound some sand, because you're not going to dictate my belief system where I have to believe like you, otherwise you're going to kill me. Thank you, Donald Trump.
That's exactly what the libtards are trying to get you to do, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you were going to mention something about Israel and some other stuff, so I don't know exactly where all that's at.
I mean, that's another huge, big topic, but I guess that I'm happy that Donald has at least... I've said it before, folks, and I'm a little reluctant to say a whole lot, right? Because I don't care about stirring the pot, and I don't care what you think, right? I mean, I already have done a lot of research. I already know what the proof is. This Netanyahu is nothing but a Yahoo. Son of a bitch is a whoremonger from the word go, and that's all there is to it. Now, have they been fighting over the Temple Mount since 2,000 years ago? Well, they have. And so they get all the money, and they get the Knights Templar, and they go in there and try to kill all the Arabs, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But you're going to try to tell me that it's the children of Israel, the chosen children, and Israel ain't even was a state before World War II? Okay.
Well, biblically, it said it wouldn't come into being a state.
I mean,
it was prophesied.
The whole thing about it, folks, is a whoremonger is a whoremonger, right? And so if you're just going to kill them people for that reason, I mean, that's what it is. It's ethnic cleansing. And it's just like Hitler, right? Hitler got paid by the CIA and the globalists and all that to do what he did, same way that they're trying to get USA to try to fund their stuff. And so that's what I'm saying. I'm not for it.
That's a big picture.
People try to tell me, well, God's going to strike you down. I said, good luck with that, right? Because I know better. You can shovel that shit up your ass. I know better than that. And so that's what I'm saying, right? I know that Israel right now is full of the whoremongers. And that's all there is to it, right? And, I mean, I'm not saying anything about Iran. I mean, we all know that they already consider us infidels, right? So, I mean...
They're a threat.
They're a threat.
Is Israel?
Yeah, Israel is a threat because they're over here, they're trying to start it up. They're trying to start World War III, right? In the name of a religious...
Going against a religious Iran, and who is what? So it's belief system against belief system. It's kingdom against kingdom, just like the Bible explains. And so we're in the midst of that.
It's all over the Temple Mount.
Absolutely.
But they've been fighting for the son of a bitch for all this time. But the Rockefeller, the Rothschild, they're the ones with the Knights Templar. They're the ones funding the Israelites. They're the ones funding Israel. The people with the money are the Israelis. How can you have a goddamn country, excuse my language, but you got this little bitty country that's running the USA? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Excuse my language once again, but I have all the proof, folks, and I don't care what you think. I don't care how much you've read the Bible or what you think, right? If you would have studied hard enough, you'd know we have no business. No business. So all I'm saying is I'm glad that Donald is at least
He's fair.
trying to pull back a little bit, because all his cabinet has all been paid for by the whatever the Israeli monetary fund or something. I can't even remember what it's called. We did a show on that. I told you how
Right.
many millions of dollars each one of these cabinet members have gotten paid from Israel.
So they're already tainted.
Just saying. So I'm glad that Trump's not just like smoke Iran.
No, he's got a just balance about him. And he's got so much going against him. The stillness that he must possess in order to organize his thoughts and to get his clarity. And how old is he? 70?
78, or is he that old?
I think he's 78. Donald, thank you. We appreciate your staying power and your clarity on all this. And not, you must have some insight. And I mean, for a person to be of your caliber, I mean, here again, you've got enough money. You could go golfing, or you could just go whatever you wanted to do. And here again, you chose to intercede on our behalf. So, and I hope that pisses you off, James Gilbert, and the rest of the people that have that mentality that he's not an American. You know, you people don't have a clue. I personally think and believe that he is ordained by the living God to intercede on the behalf of this country at this moment in time. And I'm watching some of how it's evolving. And I think Melania Trump is probably a huge influence in his humanity and having children and looking at the big picture. Cultivates his decision making on, look, most people around the world have families and they have natural affection. What you have is you have a leadership of a country who is rogue, who is trying to push some selfish manifestation.
Well, that's back to, it's just the small little group of people that are running the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So here again, I don't know if the cryptocurrency is going to help eliminate some of that. Is it going to bring it on? What is the battle going on right now with the cryptocurrency? And what timeline are we in?
The thing about cryptocurrency that I think that most people don't understand, and I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, but
A little bit, yeah.
And
I think it's a hot topic.
the thing about cryptocurrency is just the utility coins are just another machine. It's like going and buying the newest, greatest and machine that wants to do the job that you want to do. So I mean, that's nothing more than technology, right? It's not like it's this new life-changing, life-saving, right? It's just a technology. It's just a machine.
Absolutely. And it tracks every...
Some of it does. I mean, each of them are different, right? And there's literally like 1.2 million different cryptocurrencies.
Right. And then the XRP is kind of, what is that? The XRP is kind of something above all that.
Well,
isn't it?
XRP has its own particular thing, which is cross-border payment. It's taking liquidity. So now they're creating all these stable coins. So Jimmy's got a stable coin. Steve's got a stable coin. Westcliffe's got a stable coin. But I want to buy something from you. But I don't want to use your coin. I want to use my own coin.
Right.
Right? Because I don't like you that much, but I like what you got.
Right.
Right? So we don't have to like each other to do business.
Right.
XRP takes your stable coin, converts it to XRP, converts it to my stable coin.
Absolutely. So it's an intermediator.
It's payment rails.
It's a payment rail. XRP is that converter.
So, well, it's liquidity in the center to make the conversion. That's the whole thing.
And you guys were also talking about that things were going to be tokenized, whether it's land, gold,
all assets, debt, everything.
All assets.
They're already
debt. So we're
doing
talking
that.
hundreds of trillions of dollars going on.
Quadrillions.
Hundreds and quadrillions of.
At some point, everything will be digital because it's like. Well, it's just like, and I don't understand securities and all that stuff that much, but it's just like okay, you got your ranch, it's tokenized, it has a value. Just say it's worth 500 grand. Okay, you have your ranch on the blockchain, and you want to buy. You think, man, I've had enough. I'm buying gold. So you can just literally, with the stroke of a key or the click of your phone, convert that into gold. I mean, you have to go through a broker that wants to buy them, that'll give you the money
For the land.
But if it's
can,
already tokenized, right, then there's already an assigned value there.
Right.
So that it's not like you have to get it appraised and then try to find a buyer and all that. It's already, and that's why land is not as good as like a security or a
Yeah,
stock
you're right. So it's not as good as an example.
but it's still the same thing where you can just say, okay, I'm going to put my land into gold.
So you still probably have an appraisal.
Well, after it's tokenized, it's already been appraised. That's
So
the
does
whole,
inflation influence it?
I guess I'm not.
So my house here again starts off at 130.
There ain't going to be inflation once it's all cryptocurrency because you can't.
So that's why I wanted to bring that
out. You can't
out.
pull that bullshit of just printing more money.
There you go.
Inflation is the tool to keep the poor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to bring that out in this conversation, and it came out perfect. Thank you. That was absolutely what I wanted to say. Inflation is the elephant in the room. Most people understand that. But inflation is how bondage becomes. And the rich get richer and the poor are poorer. Inflation is the tool that the people that their kingdom is money, not love.
Or money and power.
Money and power. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Money and power.
It's power. I mean, and money just happens to be the device that you use to maintain and control that.
Yeah, that's the influential tool that you get to use in order for manipulation.
Energy, right?
It is. And you, the Federal Reserve, and people go, well, the Federal Reserve is part of the government. Well, it's not. That was a lie right out of the pit of hell. Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the government. And our Constitution in the minutes, and our forefathers said, never give the world bankers the ability to print your script. See, those old boys knew what was going on. Congress was the only one that was entitled to create the money. Because it was a political thing, and if they were abusive to the people wouldn't allow it. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do with the voice of the people. It has to do with the manipulation of money and power and wealth. That's why it was done in a backdoor deal. But we're not going to teach that in school. We're going to keep you stupid and more stupid and more stupid. So that's one of the other things. If you're going to be an elected official here in Custer County, if you're going to run for commissioner or a mayor, please start looking and educating yourself on what the oath is, what your duty is, the attitude and the behavior that you need to cultivate in order to be that servant. Because they are public servants, and you need to intercede on the behalf of the people, not for your own political gain or your own agenda. And that's what we have in full bloom. And that's the stuff that the DA is going to be looking at. And a lot of it has to do with the monetary deal. We have never had, since Hobby and that group left, we've never had accountability of the finances. And that's after COVID. So when COVID hit, there was all kinds of money that flew in here and wasn't kept track of. And
well, yeah, and I mean,
I'm not over that. Just so you guys know, I'm not over that. So
well, and I mean, the bad part about it is there really was no law being broke there. It's all integrity and morality.
Ethics. It all has to do with ethics, Mr. Flower. And you were the seed of deceit. You with Canda and Prince, all the whole cabal. And perhaps you, Shannon, Mr. Byerly, who I respect, or I will or not, depending on how this investigation comes out. But the forensic audit is going to take place sooner or later. We, the people, are going to demand it. We want answers. We need to know, how abusive were you people during your reign, the COVID reign? And it would be good for folks to get it off their chest. Confession's good for the soul. And you got to remember, all those commissioner meetings are audio and video. I mean, it's on YouTube. It's zoomy zoom. And there's rules of conduct where if you're wasting the taxpayers' money, if you know that you're an inadequate hire, that you're not inadequate, you have to come forward and say, look, I am making money that I don't earn, and you're wasting your tax, just like DOG did, just like Elon Musk went in and said, what is going on here? You guys are wasting this. This has to be treated so respectful because you're taking it at gunpoint. You got the IRS, oh, Jimmy didn't pay this. We're coming in to take his property. That's at gunpoint, folks. You damn well better treat the money right. You better treat the money right. And when you don't, you piss an American off like me. And you don't want that. All the other 4,000 people here in Custer County may be okay with it. I'm not. All you need is one I'm not satisfied, okay? But in this particular arena, there's a whole group of us going, the accountability is going to take place. Transparency is going to be installed. We're going to know what happened.
Or not. Or either that or the whole world can burn up at this point. Who really cares? Because it'll be what it'll be. It is what it is. You can deceive us, you can deceive us, you can lie, you can do whatever you want to. And at this point, I literally do not care.
And I think most of the people are in that mode.
It's a bigger than me. Whatever's going on here, I can't control. So,
no, you're right. But we can
we can damn sure catch them lying.
We can get a paper trail going. We can get you down. I mean, we can set it up for the courtroom, Billy Bob.
We've been kind of sidetracked here with all the stuff going on, but we ain't forgot the Justice Center.
No, and that's already raised its ugly head again, and they're going to try to manipulate the people, and that's coming. That's dang sure coming. But all of the backdoor and the shady crap that took place there, the lease on the property, for one, who negotiated the deal, the amount of abuse and suspicious environment that's been created with the people that have been in elected officials is like here. I mean, it's so deep, and it's here again. It's 7, 8, 9 years of this stuff that's compiled. And the cool thing about it, it's got minutes attached to it. And it's audio and video. So they might have thought they got away with it, but they didn't.
Most of the stuff that we really need is on the stuff in Billy Bob Biden's private. It's down there in his garage by the Corvette.
Yeah. Billy Bob Biden down by the Corvette. I like it, Stephen.
So, I mean, I
couldn't have said it any better. So, and again, he did send us some of that information, but at the end of the day, why didn't Kelly Camper have that as a clerk and reporter? The $20 to $40 million development, she did not have one piece of paperwork of the minutes and all the stuff that was recorded in the discussions of the development of that project. That is asinine. You know there was some evil dealings there. And we had the judge, Mrs. Amanda Hunter. We have the standing judge right now. You know who you are. We love you, Mike Helpin. You're absolutely one of the cool things I believe that's happened to the county. We had the sheriff involved. All of these we had Ann Barthrup. What a queen that is. And then we had an FBI agent on it. We had all these law-loving warmongers. We had all of them in that cabal and decision-making. We didn't have a farmer, rancher. We didn't have business owners. We didn't have anybody like that. We just had all these law people.
And all the people
For the justice.
were getting their money. They're all the people that were getting paid.
There were all the people that were getting paid. Just like we shut down the sludge thing getting hauled, this Justice Center ain't going anywhere, folks. The voice of the people said, look, we don't need it. We can't afford it. We don't want high taxes.
No, speaking of, there's a good article Sandra Atterbury sent me here. It's been a while back, but I just sent that to the email today. Mike will get it up on the website about Tina Peters and the election integrity. And I can't remember this gentleman's first name and his last name, Solomon. So they proved, and then in Arapahoe County, and then they went through and tampered with the evidence, but he still had the original evidence.
Who's your daddy?
So I mean,
you got to stay in the fight.
It's just the kind of day I've had. I mean, like I said, you're just going to blow all my hay away and you expect me to be chipper. I'm not, right? I'm not chipper about... The only thing that I'm chipper about is we got fireworks. The rest of this stuff, but
we also found the depth of the sewer in the alley.
I'm pretty sour about stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not trying to impress it or pass that off on anybody else, but still it is what it is. I'm not in the mood to argue. I'm in the mood to twist your neck. And that's about where I'm at.
And I think a lot of us are running out of patience, too. So,
anyways,
in Saturday Cristo Sentinel, happy Flag Day, almost. Leftist violence comes to Happy Valley. Enraged lib points pistol at Flag Day celebrants. So, there again, we got to take every breath with a lot of be thankful and grateful, because that could have turned pretty bad pretty fast. Pretty bad pretty fast. I know if I'm going to do something, and I'm going to do something.
That's the whole thing, right? I mean, that's the difference, right? We already know how we are, right? So if we do something, we get it done. It's not, look at me, I'm going to snap my suspender. I'm super cool, so I'm going to wave a gun in your face just because you're a little...
And then when he gets caught, he's crying.
Of course.
Oh, I didn't mean it.
Hopefully he goes to prison and they drop the soap, and then he can bleed out you know what.
Yeah,
that's
bingo. So, yeah, I mean...
Bleed out your holes, bitch, and then see where you're at.
So, and the other... The people that conspired with him is... Gilbert, little Jimmy Gilbert. I watched you. I've watched you. We've had a little bit of, and you kind of, I'm a viral. You're something with some PhD or some bullshit little language behind your name. Pal, I ain't got nothing like that. And I don't care to have anything like that. The truth and the reality of the existence of mankind doesn't require you to have that. Then you think you're up on some scale where you can talk down to me. You don't talk down to me. You think you're talking down to me. That's hilarious. I'm listening to every word you're saying. Looking at the point of contact. Look, I got situational awareness. I know what time it is. I listen to you Nimrods and your discussions of how mamsy-pamsy things are and how you compromise this republic. It's not a democracy, it's a republic. That's why elected officials take an oath. You serve the people. You serve the law. You don't self-serve. When you start self-serving, you run into problems. Billy Bob, Genda, Biden, Lucas, and Mr. Vogel, what are they calling him now? Vogelfold. Paul, you guys better go set. You better get strong. You better understand what your duty is, because we're coming. Oh, haven't seen you there at the meetings very much, Jimmy. No, here's some more rope for you, Nimrod. Keep acting and being stupid and listening to that lawyer you got. Head of the Democratic Party, you're listening to that counsel. My God, how pitiful are you?
Pretty pitiful.
Pretty damn pitiful.
I'm tired of yelling at him, you.
Well, somewhere along the line, I want to get it a little bit off my chest, and people know I talk to people here and there. And how we roll. There's a pretty good flow of commonality and like-mindedness. A lot of patriots in this county. A lot of God-fearing folks here. A lot of just good folks.
There is, but I mean, I'm calling y'all out, and y'all don't do shit. It's pretty pitiful, actually. Our whole support system. How can they get away with all this if we was paying attention? The only way we can get away with it is because we ain't paying attention. That's nobody but you, folks.
So
I'm doing the best I can here.
So Jim Wild, I'm going to give you some kudos today. You were the only person at the commissioner meeting today. Thank you, Mr. Wild. Thank you, because you had questions. You're a concerned citizen. They're doing your business, and you wanted to sit there and listen to them and say, hey, I have a question about how you're rolling. Thank you, because you were involved. I wasn't there.
And the thing about it now is what's really the use of going, because they won't even allow you to speak.
They do a little bit.
They got you throttled back, not like they used to.
Not like they used to,
I mean,
but they still
whatever.
let
You don't want to hear what we got to say, or you wouldn't have throttled us back like that. It's real simple, folks.
Yeah. Well, here again, that's a very, very big indicator of when they're trying
The arguing's over for me. It's neck twisting time, right? It's kill shot. Bang, bang, folks. That's the words. We're coming to get you. We're going to prove that you lied. Now, what's that going to do? That's what we talked about before. What is the penalty for lying, Billy Bob Biden? I don't.
Justice Center.
Someday you will find out.
Well, and that's kind of where we're at.
And is that a threat? No, I'm just saying you got to meet the maker someday, pal. Has nothing to do with me. I don't care if you lie every breath you ever take. Has nothing to do with me.
But there's consequences in the invisible world.
Yeah. Everybody's going to meet their maker one of these days.
So, anyways, getting back to the fireworks, it would be nice if folks donated some money.
Tax deductible, 100% tax deductible. I mean, the easiest is to drop a check off at the liquor store at Antlers Liquor. Also, or you can go to Kirkpatrick Bank. We, appreciate, silent.
Yeah, Trent Stafford. Thank you.
Silent donations. I mean, so he's taking a beating from the mortarmen because he didn't put in as much as he did last year. And that's none of my business. Whatever, donate what you can or what you feel. Who knows? Maybe he ain't even going to be here and ain't even going to see the fireworks. I have no idea.
Who knows? Doesn't matter.
But what I'm saying is that we like to keep it straight. So I mean, if you want to make a donation that's what's the word I'm looking for? A closed donation, so nobody knows who it
Oh
came.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Silent donation.
Yeah.
Private
if you want
thing.
to do that, fine. But I mean, we like to keep that out in the open so that we can thank the people that donated to us and also get you your tax deduction, right? I mean, a lot of people say, well, I don't have the money. Well, you're going to have to pay it to the taxes. You're going to have to pay it to Uncle Sam. So whatever. You can lie to yourself, and I don't care if you want to try to lie to me because I really don't care. Shit, lie to yourself. Well, I don't have the money. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. And I don't care, right? I don't have money to donate, but I've already donated all I'm going to donate. If I had $1 million, I wouldn't donate any because I'm the one that has the liability. Something goes wrong, they look at me. So, I mean, my donation,
so the value,
my donation is far beyond. Where's all the fireworks at, folks? Who can get in trouble if something happens here, folks? Whatever, I mean, we all have our...
Excuse me.
We all have what we have, and we do what we do.
Well, it's definitely a pivotal time in the country's future. And I think anything we can do to stimulate patriotism and love of country, love of God, moral conduct, and the education that goes along with a constitutional republic. People, you don't get it. If you're not educated, you're not going to get it. You can't vote or take my right away. Everybody else can bow their knee. I'm not bowing my knee. The only knee I'm bowing is to God. That's it. It's not a democracy. In a democracy, you can vote my rights away. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. And I just don't know that how many people really understand that we have rights guaranteed to us, and that the government is there just to keep evil under. It's not to suppress good people from doing things. It's to keep evil under. That's the only reason government was ever created, was to keep evil under. And what we've used it now for is to bring it, manifest it. I mean, if you look at Pelosi and Schumer and the folks that have been up there for 40, 50, 60 years, they have done nothing but sell us out, sold the country out. So at the end of the day, it's time to raise up a new standard. It's very clear and very to the point on where we're at and where we got to go. And who the enemy is, whether it's in the House or in the Senate, doesn't matter. Or if it's in a, let's just say, a sheriff, a school board, the commissioners, it doesn't matter. If people got into a position of power with ill will and they're carrying out their ill will, governorship of Colorado, fine example, governorship of California, those people didn't get there to represent a constitutional republic. They came there to subdue it. They came to subdue it. And then if you look at the media, there you go. The media is the tool that they use. Same thing that, good old Hitler did.
There's nothing new under the sun, folks.
Nothing new under the sun.
If you haven't figured it out now, then maybe you won't.
But anyways, hopefully we'll have some people show up at the commissioner meeting, maybe call a commissioner, ask them what's going on with the Justice Center, ask them what's going on with our taxes. Are they raising our taxes? Did our insurance go up? And why did the insurance go up? Are we changing carriers? Why are we getting out of different things? Why are we reinventing ourselves? And Lucas, I think you're proactive in trying to do some of this. Some of us has encouraged you to look at things in a different light.
It took long enough.
Yeah, it took. There you go. Yeah. But somebody needs to make the stand, because we, the people, aren't going to be abused.
Yeah, because Lucas, you still got one coming from the old man for lying to him about the low-income housing.
So here again, there was a $100,000 grant given to some agricultural thing here in the town. I don't know what that all had to do with, but $100,000 to do with agricultural investment on the pavement.
It's the tourist board.
Yeah.
They're trying to get me into it. I mean, I'm not against it, but at this point, I don't have time. And
here again, it's the list.
You ain't gonna make no money for me, so it's like, right? I mean, it's
here again to me, little Deb Adams, knowing that you hate America.
If you don't run with the libtard crew, then it ain't going to do you much good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I am not running with people that hate this constitutional republic, which is called America. You got your hands full with me, folks. Plain and simple. I've watched the weaponization of this county against me. Period. I don't care. You have no idea what no care means. We're going to be okay. I'm going to be all right, but I'm not going to be abused with treasonous, Marxist-type people. Not happening. Not going to take it. I'm going to call you out, and you know you're exposed. You guys know you're exposed. Red County, Blue Nation. We have situational awareness. We know exactly where we're at. We got a faggot governor. We have a homosexual governor who has no good sense about him at all. He's a politician and he's perverted. Period. That's where it is. And when you start, he's going to hold our money back if we don't whatever you have to do to him or for him in order to get that money. That's called whoring yourself out. You got to be a principle. You need to know what principle is. You got to understand what it's about. What makes something stand? What makes something fall? What makes something strong? What makes something weak? You better define it. You better get it defined, and you better get it defined fast, because we're not selling out. If this push comes to shove, you'll find out exactly what being American is about. So you as elected officials who took the oath might ought to start looking at things in a different light. That's all I'm asking. This is my First Amendment. This is freedom of speech. The Second Amendment is because if you continuously waste and oppress us in a constitutional republic, we have a duty and a right with the Second Amendment to say, look, Sheriff, we have a problem here with these folks, and we'll bring you up to the judge. And it could escalate even further into that depth. But that's kind of where civil people that have loving and kindness in their heart, that want to see a standard of behavior reinstalled because it's been robbed, just like the little frog in the frying pan. The school system has taken the kingdom outside. They've robbed the heart of the American children of what makes this country stand. Thank God we got a pretty strong, you guys that did the little bombing and whatever you did over there, that took a pretty good skill, and you're dropping and you're doing a lot of stuff there, refueling. That's America that I'm proud of, that we're strong enough to say, look, don't mess with us. We love you, but don't mess with us. We love you, but don't mess with us. Don't say, oh, down with America, we're going to kill you. Stop it. Stop it. So anyways, that's where I'm at, Stephen.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you too.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say.
Well, you don't have to say a lot. You've done a bunch. You and Brian and
Y'all don't have a clue. I doubt you ever will, and I don't care, right? I just don't care, right? You have no idea what's going on.
Well, some do, some don't.
Not in here you don't. I guarantee you don't know what's going on in here. Never will. But you can run your trap mouth, and that's fine. But if you honestly think I care, you're mistaken.
And I would respectively request that the commissioners really look at where we're going as a county, and who do you serve? Who do you really serve? Who are you looking out for?
Like you really need the answer. They serve themselves, for Christ's sake.
Well, I think they serve Polis.
Shit.
So anyways,
Billy
I
Bob
don't know what
Biden
time it
serves
is, but
himself.
I'm
It's
pretty,
time.
It's probably time to sign.
yeah,
Hey,
it's
Mike
time.
Boring, I'm glad you were able to spend some time with your family after the hardship that you guys have endured. The healing and the prayers and all the love we can muster up for you, brother. Man, I'm telling you, that's a tough deal. So steadfast. We
Yep.
appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Thank
you.
everyone. Have a great evening. See you next week.
Thank you, guys.